All right, we're back in Vancouver. Who are you with?
Andrew Doe, nice to meet y'all.
And what'd you do today?
Made top 32 with branded Chimera with a heavier branded engine. I wish I did better, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
How were your matchups today?
Today I lost round 9, game 3 to Anti-Spell, and then I drew a Christian Urena, just tried to play it out the best I could, but luckily we both top. Day 1 was super easy because I didn't play against any Unchained really, other than Lab Unchained, but basically it was like 2-0 tie, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1 because I punted and it like 2-0 basically. So I realized, yeah, if I'm not playing against Unchained, it's pretty easy versus every other deck. So
Okay, any shout outs before we start?
yeah, shout out to my brother Lex right there. He's been with us to day 1. Shout out to like all my close friends, like Adam Mei, Ricky Williams, our group chat. Shout out to the man behind the camera, Anthony Bang. I appreciate him and everything he does. Shout out to Kyle Waterbury, Kyle Crowfoot, everyone back home at SAC. To be honest, everyone who helped me with the deck, everyone who was rooting for me, like Andrew Amaro and stuff like that.
Our local hero right here.
Yeah, personally, I let you guys down. I wish I did more, but.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, like I said, so I'm playing Chimera branded, but my engine is a little smaller because I don't rely on it as much. So I played 2 Cornfield, 2 Mirror Knight, 2 Baphomet, 1 Gazelle, and 1 Chimera Fusion. That's literally it, because the reason why I opted for this is because, to be honest, when I play the full version with a lot of hand traps and just like maxing out all these basically, it seems very redundant. Like, your normal summons are basically once per turn, so you're not swarming the field as much as you would like. And then after a while, yeah, it's nice to like draw cards off guard and Chimera and to get recursion back. But at the end of the day, that's really all you're doing. So its ceiling is only capped by that Chimera card itself. So by playing a smaller engine, you get access to any with your 3 branded fusions, and you already get to like fuse and make the Chimera fusion, but you can also get this back. So I didn't see any point of like maximize out. It just seemed like more bricks to me. Then we go for the real branded engine. So I played 2 Aluber. I wanted to cut this down to 1 like slightly, but I was okay with it at 2. The reason being is because I still do play the 3 branded openings, so I wanted to treat it like 3 Brilliant Fusion and 1 Garnet. But it's not as bad because opening it, you still get access to you get to play. Like, the whole point is like you just want to play through things and being able to play in general. So 2 of that. I played 3. Where's my other? Sorry, I got a. What? I did have 3 of these.
It was a 3. That was 3rd.
Oh, it's right here.
Okay.
Apologize for that. I maxed this out because in your full combo, you're burning 1 off branded fusion. You're burning 1 to make Titaniclad, to dunk with Titaniclad, so it's getting special on your opponent's turn. So you need a 3rd one for the follow-up, so you can play your 2nd branded fusion. Like I said, this deck is really heavy on the brandeds, so like you want engine, and it's also a naturally good board breaker, and it's naturally pairing well with your fusion deployments or your Cartesias because you get access to your Albaz fusions without actually having to play branded fusion. So this card's really good. I think it's better at 3, but like I said, I'm playing a heavier branded count. So now for the Albaz friends, these are all I played. 2, 1, Quem's good. They're all really good in their own situation. 1 Bird. And then these 2 are your bridges. For your main combo line, you're going to access all 3 of these, to be honest, in 1 play. And if you want, I'll show y'all a combo bit after that. But that's it for the Albaz friends. That's it for the monsters, actually, too. So, I wanted, basically, the concept was I wanted both. I wanted to be able to play the Chimera engine and play the branded engine so that there's 2 lines where I can diverge into where they have to pick 1 to stop. It's either I'm going to full combo branded or full combo Chimera, or if they don't stop at all, then I full combo and just win. Most of the time when I get my full setup, I usually just win that game. They usually just scoop. So now for the spells, I played 1 Call By, it's stable, it just stops Ash and stuff like that. Branded Laws, this card's cracked, it's MVP, and you get it with your combo line, which is insane. 1 Branded Red, 3 deployments, so I have like, in this build it's better because you have basically 6 copies, like 8 or 9 copies depending on Branded Fusion. 3 Fusion deployment, and then this card was MVP all weekend until I started playing versus Unchained. I realized it wasn't as strong versus Unchained, but it is a blow against every other, like Pearly, Kashira, everything. I played like 2 Pearly, 2 Kashira, 1 Branded, and any rogue it'll kill. But yeah, this card is definitely MVP, and I really enjoyed playing it a lot. The other great board breaker card was 3 Book of Clips. This card performed exceptionally well too. It does bait out Ash, which I even enjoy even more because I just want these cards to be played. Like this is just, if they play it, they play it. But it also puts their DDD High Wave King face down, so that helps me play because this deck does have a hard time playing your inherent spell cards and to keep negating it. So that was good. And then I played 2 Talents, 2 Thrust, and a Fusion Duplication. So naturally, by default, other than what Chimera and Branded do, naturally breaking boards, I play, 1, 2, 3, 4, like about 10 board breaking cards. Played no hand traps at all. I didn't miss any hand traps at all. If I lose dice rolls, I make them make their board, and then I just try to break their board and win. Kind of what Unchained does, right? They don't really play hand traps like that. But this card was exceptionally good because it helps me get into my side card, or worst case scenario, at minimum, it acts as cross-out designator because if they do somehow Ash Branded Fusion, I activate this and just set the Fusion Duplication. So this card was a lot better than cross-out designator. So
And you don't have to play like one Ash for.
Yeah, I don't have to play like the targets for
Yeah.
cross-out. I get to just still play my main deck. So that's the whole point of this deck. You just want to be able to play. And then now we go for the extra deck. These are my Super Poly targets. No explanation really needed for these. Masquerade, I'll explain this guy a little bit because he is important. I don't play Despian Cordis at all or any Despian in my extra deck. It's just him because I did a lot of testing where the decks nowadays, they're playing a lot of cards in their hand. So they're playing through a lot of cards. And on the off chance you can't push for enough damage, you pretty much just lock them out with this. And also the body. So if ever it left the field, at least once it gets to come back. So it has a good time body blocking up. 1 Guardian Chimera, I didn't need to. You're winning the game most of the time. It resolves anyways. I never felt where I needed a second one at all. Maybe in the Peerless, but you're winning. Your extra deck's so tight because you're playing a lot more branded cards. Just one of this. I'm not even playing the bigger guy. He's there just to unlock all the 2 graveyard negators and get your Chimera engine set up. But he's also really good because he rips a card out of your hand. He works by bringing back Kit or bringing back Berthelmet as fusion materials for your follow-up. 1 Dust, 1 Rimbrum. Titaniclad, I'll also explain this guy a little bit. Like I said, he's on the defense. I don't think I've ever really summoned him offensively. He's just there defensively to dump to the graveyard, like especially for Pearly. Like I have yet to see a Pearly like outplay this type of field unless they bring out the X-Pearly Nor with more than 5 materials, but it usually doesn't happen. So even if they have my friend and then the street, if this guy's in my graveyard, and during the end phase, this happened like I think around 7 yesterday, right? I would go end phase Cartesia, bring it back to my hand because I fuse make the dust to dump this. And then now that I have a card in my hand, activate this effect. I'll bring out the Albaz, discard the Cartesia that I just dumped, fuse with their E-Pearly Nor because they usually use that to set the trap to try to follow up on my turn. Fuse with that, they get cards back to their hand, but it doesn't matter. It's their end phase. It's about to be my turn. And if they decide to special summon off their street, my Mirror Jade that I just summoned will use this effect to dump Albion so that I can still end phase Albion and get Branded Fusion. But if they don't do that, then I just win next turn. I just pretty much depleted their whole board. And even though they have the field spell, they're going to have a field spell, a dead like Pearly, and then a dead My Friend. They'll have follow-up, but they're basically in an open board where I'm just going to kill them. So that's why I like this card a lot. Sanctifier. It's essentially kind of the same thing. It's more ways to interact with your opponent. I don't play Gimmick Lock, but he's still good because a lot of time I'm like hard summoning a lot of my fusions. Like I could bring back Rimbrum, I could bring back Mirror Jade, I could bring back Albaz to fuse. So that's still good. And it's also really good versus Cashier because they can't
Target it.
So
Yeah.
it's just a strong body. I realize it's kind of good for Sunchain too, to be honest. But one of that's standard, and that's standard. So that's it for the extra deck. Now we go to the side deck. It's just 3 Dark Roller. I didn't side it in at all this weekend, but I still enjoy this card enough. It's either 3 of this or 3 Nibiru. I enjoy this card enough because when you play against Rogue or like those like Manadium type decks, you always want to at least respect it. Whether it's right or anything, you just want to give yourself some form of like, oh, okay, I didn't auto lose. You have something. Because these things really beat decks like Inferno or like those type of decks. This card sucks. I'm not even going to explain it because it sucks. I wish I didn't play it at all. Don't play this card. It does suck. 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Lightning Storm, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. This deck's real problem is kind of the back row type cards.
Anti-spell.
Yeah. Even though like Anti-Spell like these don't get out to spell. This does, but this beats like other type of floodgates, like the weird floodgates, like summon limit and stuff like that. You just want to be able to play. Like once you see no back row, you have the green light to pretty much keep playing.
It outs like birth so that they don't touch your graveyard
I
while you're playing
too. For sure versus Chimera a lot, and Pearly, because you kill most of them. They kill their stuff, and if they do protect that, at least those other things are gone. 1 D-Bear, because I play the thrust, so essentially it's 3 D-Bears. I only side this in rarely versus Pearly going first. Sometimes I don't side it depending on how I'm like watching them play. It's just there as a one-up. Same with Chimera. This card was very mid. I'm not going to say it sucks because I do side it in sometimes, but that's why it's just a one-of. Shout out to Fetty, Dennis. Originally I was playing 2 of this and 3 Cosmic Cyclones, but he said just take 1 of each out and then put in the Lightning Storms, and I did enjoy the Lightning Storms a lot more. This card was mid, but it's whatever. It's because I play Thrust, I can also target. So then the last 4 cards is change a card, and these are also supposed to be 3 Marinette Mites. I'm sorry I had to give it back to Paulie, so shout out to him for letting me borrow that. I could not find that at all for the event, and I appreciate it. And
it's like a super old common.
Yeah, it's a super old common. It's basically a puppet plant. What you do is you discard it, and you take a fiend or a zombie monster. But it specifically goes in for the DD matchup because you want to take their High Wave King Caesar. So now it becomes on your field, and then by default, it can also negate their Monster Reborn type card, or it also negates their Rage that they have on the field.
Yeah, to link summon.
Yeah, otherwise, if they don't want to give me the DDD, they have to start blowing up all their own cards. So it's 1 card to pretty much almost nuke their whole field. Shout out to Fetty also for putting me on it. It was a really good card. I really enjoyed that card. Like, every time I saw it, other than round 9 when the dude had anti-spell, I just felt confident I was going to win that Unchained matchup because they don't have a way to like really play around that. But other than that, that was my whole deck profile. So,
all right.
Wish I did better, but appreciate everyone who showed the love and supported me with everything. So,
all right. Thanks for the profile, Andrew. We'll see you next time.